All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into some seriously intense stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The Book of Revelation,
Definitely intense.
the end of the world,
You said it.
plagues, prophecies.
It's really something else.
It can get pretty wild.
You can say that again.
And to guide us on this apocalyptic journey,
Okay.
we're going to be taking a look at
All right.
a YouTube video called Nostradamus Effect, Secrets of the Seven Seals.
Okay. I've heard of this one.
It really digs deep into all that end times imagery.
Definitely.
Have you ever heard
I
of
have.
the Nostradamus Effect?
Sure. Yeah.
It's this idea that modern day events line up with all those ancient prophecies
All right. So we're talking about
the end of the world.
the end times.
Pretty intense stuff.
It really gets you thinking.
No kidding.
It definitely makes you think about the future and,
For sure.
all the possibilities.
Absolutely.
But before we get too deep into, like, doomsday scenarios,
Right.
let's break down
That's okay.
the essential parts of
Okay.
Revelation.
Yeah.
And I think a good place to start is with the number 7.
Oh, the video calls it like a total obsession with 7.
Pretty much.
Why is that number so important?
So 7 represents completeness.
Okay.
Divine perfection.
Right.
It's like all over the place in Revelation,
Yeah.
almost like a countdown
Right?
leading up to
Yeah.
the grand finale.
Oh, so the end of the world.
Yeah, that's the idea.
And those are marked
Yeah.
by the 7 seals, right?
Exactly.
Like each seal
Okay.
unleashes some kind of chaos on the world.
Right.
Like dominoes
Falling.
getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it's like a
Whack.
carefully designed, like, chain reaction.
Really building
And it's
suspense.
nice, and really driving home the point
Mhm.
of how huge these events are
Okay.
that lead up to,
The final showdown.
Between good and evil.
Yeah, the ultimate battle.
So who is this first rider?
Okay, so the first rider,
The one on the white horse?
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Often interpreted as the Antichrist. It's this figure who at first
Okay.
appears to be all about peace and righteousness, but ultimately deceives people,
Wow.
leads them astray.
Like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Exactly, like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right.
And the video actually brings up some
Yeah.
interesting parallels to people like Hitler.
Oh, wow.
They were masters of manipulation
Yeah.
and caused incredible suffering.
That's a scary thought.
It is, it is.
Does that mean that every charismatic leader
Mm.
could secretly be the Antichrist?
Well, you know,
Makes you wonder.
it's not really about
Okay.
pointing fingers,
All right.
but it does make you think
Yeah.
about the potential for deception
Mm.
and how looks can be deceiving. That's a good point.
It is something to consider.
Okay, so the white horse
All right.
brings deception.
Yeah, that's right.
What about the red horse?
Okay, so the red horse.
What does that one bring?
You can probably guess.
Oh, let me guess.
War.
War and bloodshed.
Wow.
Hard not to connect that to,
Yeah.
the threat of nuclear war,
Right.
all the conflicts we see
Oh, yeah.
all over the world.
All the time.
Yeah, console.
The video actually mentions North Korea as a modern example.
Oh, interesting.
It's a reminder how easily peace can fall apart.
Absolutely. Things can change so quickly.
For sure.
And speaking of things falling apart,
Oh, no.
the third seal brings the black horse.
Okay.
And this one symbolizes
All right.
famine,
Oh, wow.
economic collapse.
So, like, 2008, but on a global scale.
Yeah, something like that.
Or all the anxieties about wealth inequality.
Right. It taps into all of that.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It really is.
So the black horse is all about...
We're very real fears about survival.
Absolutely.
Basic needs.
The essentials?
What happens when those disappear?
Yeah, the potential for, like, total societal breakdown.
That's heavy stuff.
It really is.
Is there any good news in Revelation?
Well,
Asking for a friend.
hold on tight, because the fourth seal,
Okay.
it brings the pale horse.
Let
And
me guess. Zombies?
not quite zombies,
Oh.
but close.
Okay, what is it then?
It's death and destruction, but on, like, a massive scale.
Okay.
Think pandemics,
Oh, wow.
climate change,
Okay.
widespread food shortages.
So all the stuff we worry about anyway.
Exactly. All those anxieties
Right.
that are always kind of in the back of our minds.
It feels less like a countdown now and more like a checklist
Oh, yeah.
of every worst case scenario.
It's a lot.
It really is.
It definitely is.
A lot to process.
A lot to think about.
Okay, so the fifth seal
Yeah.
offers a bit of a shift in perspective.
It does.
I could use a change of pace.
I hear you.
So what happens with the fifth seal?
So instead of focusing on earthly disasters, it shifts our attention to the spiritual realm.
Right.
It depicts the souls under the altar in heaven, crying out for justice and vengeance.
So it's not all just fire and brimstone.
Wow.
There's a chance for salvation.
According to this interpretation of Revelation.
Okay.
Yes.
Right?
It introduces this idea of believers being saved and non-believers facing God's wrath.
So there's hope.
There is hope.
But also some pretty heavy consequences.
That's right.
Got it. What about the sixth seal?
All right, so the sixth seal.
Does it bring more earthly chaos?
It definitely dials up the natural disasters.
Oh, no.
We're talking major earthquakes,
Wow.
volcanic eruptions, skies going dark.
The whole shebang.
The whole shebang.
The video mentions the Ring of Fire.
Oh, yeah.
Like where a lot of earthquakes and volcanoes happen.
Exactly. It's a zone of intense seismic activity.
Wow. And they even mention the Yellowstone supervolcano that could cover most of the U.S. in ash.
Potentially,
and trigger a volcanic winter.
That's the idea.
Isn't there a movie about that?
There are definitely movies about that.
It sounds familiar.
And scientists, they take it seriously too.
Oh, wow.
The potential consequences are enormous.
Okay.
Widespread devastation, climate change.
Oh, wow.
Millions of lives lost.
It's hard to imagine.
It really is.
Destruction on that scale.
It's mind-boggling.
Okay, so we are not done yet, right?
Nope, not done yet.
We still have one more seal.
We do.
The seventh seal.
That's right.
And this one is different.
It is,
Because it starts with silence.
Silence.
Like the calm before the storm.
Exactly.
Oh, that's even more unsettling than a sudden explosion.
It is,
It's like you know something bad is coming, but you don't know what or when.
That's the feeling.
And what follows that silence.
Okay, so what follows
is the most intense part of Revelation.
It's pretty intense.
The seven trumpets.
Seven trumpets,
which signal a new wave of disasters.
Yeah, divinely ordained disasters.
Even more devastating than the seals.
They are.
Wait, there's more?
There's more.
I thought the seals were bad enough.
That gets worse.
What kind of disasters are we talking about here?
Okay, so we're talking plagues of locusts. Hail and fire raining from the sky.
Oh, wow.
A sea that turns to blood.
Okay.
A darkening of the sun and moon.
That sounds like
like
those extinction event documentaries.
It does, doesn't it?
About the dinosaurs.
It really does.
It really makes you wonder.
It does.
Are these events symbolic? Or are they literal predictions?
It's the big question.
Yeah.
And it's a question for the ages.
It makes you wonder if events like the Tunguska event, that massive explosion in Siberia, were just a taste
Could be.
of what's to come.
It's possible.
But hold on, before we spiral.
Okay.
There's another layer
There is.
to this whole apocalypse business.
Right.
We haven't even talked about the unholy trinity.
Ah, yes, the unholy trinity.
Adds another level of complexity
It does.
to this already intense narrative.
It really does.
But we'll save that
Okay.
for the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. Welcome back.
We are back.
As we unpack this idea of the unholy trinity,
Right.
it's helpful to, remember that revelation? It wasn't written in a vacuum.
Definitely not.
It came from a specific historical context.
Okay.
And that really shaped its apocalyptic imagery.
Right. The video talks about how
Yeah.
John, the author of Revelation, was writing when early Christians were being persecuted
That's right.
by the Roman Empire.
Yeah, you can feel the weight of that
Totally.
in the text.
It's heavy.
The Roman Empire,
Yeah.
with its massive armies,
Right.
seemingly unstoppable power, must have felt like an unbeatable threat
Totally.
for those early Christians.
It's easy to see
Right.
how that context might have fueled visions of a cosmic battle.
Yeah, good versus evil.
Right, with God ultimately
Yeah.
vanquishing the forces of oppression.
Right, triumphing over.
So Revelation could be seen as a message of hope
Yeah,
and resilience
absolutely.
in the face of suffering.
That's a great point.
Like saying, hey, even though things are tough,
Yeah.
God's got this. Good will win in the end.
And that theme of
Okay.
divine judgment
Right.
against a wicked world
Yeah.
is pretty consistent throughout Revelation.
Right. So the seven seals,
Yeah,
the seven trumpets,
right.
they're all part of this larger narrative.
That bigger story.
You mentioned trumpets.
Yeah.
What exactly are they?
Oh, good question.
We talked about the seals,
Right.
but not so much about the trumpets.
You're right. We should clarify.
Okay.
Think of the trumpets as a second wave
Okay.
of those divinely ordained disasters.
Oh, wow.
Even more intense than the ones from the seals.
Okay.
They bring plagues of locusts,
Right.
hail and fire,
Oh, gosh.
a poison sea,
Mm.
and the sun and moon going dark.
And you said there were 7 vials, too.
Oh, yes, the vials of wrath.
What are those all about?
They come after the trumpets,
Okay.
and they represent God's final judgment on those who didn't repent.
On those who didn't turn back to God.
That's right.
Okay.
And each vial brings a specific plague
Right.
or calamity.
Oh, wow.
It all ends
Okay.
with the complete destruction of the forces of evil.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
How these apocalyptic stories seem to resonate
Yeah,
across cultures and time periods.
they do.
Even today,
Right.
people connect things like wars,
Yeah.
natural disasters, political upheavals to those prophecies in Revelation.
It shows you
Okay.
how powerful these narratives are.
Right.
They give us a way to understand chaos and suffering.
Yeah, like a framework.
Exactly, a framework.
It's like even amid devastation,
Yeah.
there's a hope
Yeah.
that a new world order will come.
A new beginning.
And speaking of
Okay.
a new world order,
Right.
Revelation ultimately ends with the creation of a new heaven and a new earth,
A place of eternal peace and harmony.
where God dwells
Right.
among his people.
It's like a reset button, a fresh start after unimaginable turmoil.
But the road to that redemption
Yeah,
is paved with some
that's right.
pretty intense trials.
It's a difficult path. And that's where interpreting Revelation
Yeah.
gets tricky.
How so?
How literally
Right.
should we take these prophecies?
Right.
Are they a literal roadmap of the future?
Okay.
Or are they symbols of
Right.
spiritual truths?
And the battle between good and evil.
Exactly.
The video seems to say
Yeah.
there's no single right answer.
There isn't.
It gives a bunch of viewpoints, ranging from taking Revelation literally to seeing it more metaphorically.
Yeah, it's a whole spectrum.
And it's that range's interpretation that makes Revelation so fascinating and thought-provoking.
It really does.
The important thing is
Right.
to engage with these prophecies thoughtfully.
Absolutely.
We need to consider the historical context, the symbolic language,
Right.
and the potential for
Yeah.
multiple layers of meaning.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned multiple layers of meaning.
One thing that's always struck me about Revelation is this contrast between a merciful Savior
Right.
and a righteous judge.
It's different from the image of a gentle, loving Jesus.
It's not quite the same. You're absolutely right. That duality is central to Revelation.
And we see this most clearly in the Battle of Armageddon, where Jesus, covered in blood, leads God's army against the Antichrist.
It's a powerful image and a bit unsettling.
Definitely not the Jesus you see on holiday cards.
It makes you wonder how people throughout history have reconciled
That's a good question.
these different sides of him.
Well, some say this warrior Jesus is a symbol of God's ultimate victory over evil.
Okay.
Others suggest it reflects the anger of the early Christians.
Right. Facing persecution.
That's right.
It adds another dimension
Yeah.
to the idea of Jesus
Right.
as a complex figure.
Absolutely. A reminder that religious texts, especially ones like Revelation, are open to many interpretations.
And it's really important
It is.
to approach those interpretations critically.
Absolutely.
We need to avoid people who claim to have all the answers.
Right. Or who use fear.
Yeah, or who try to
manipulate people.
Yeah, to manipulate people's anxieties.
The creators of the video, they subtly warn against that.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It's commendable.
Blind faith without critical thinking can be dangerous.
Especially when we're talking about the end of the world.
It's serious stuff.
I agree, but it's hard not to get swept up in all the drama and intrigue.
It's captivating.
The imagery in Revelation is so vivid.
It really grabs you.
It does.
But as we keep exploring these themes, there's another crucial aspect of Revelation we need to address.
What's that?
The concept of free will.
Oh, free will.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
If these prophecies are set, if the end times are preordained, does that mean we have no choice?
Yeah. Do we have any say in our destiny?
Are we just puppets?
Are we just along for the ride?
Yeah, in some cosmic play?
That's a question. That's been around for centuries.
It has.
The video hints at this idea that even within a divine plan, there might still be room for human agency.
For us to make choices.
So maybe the big picture is decided, but we have some wiggle room in how we get there.
It's like a tapestry.
Okay.
The overall design might be predetermined, but the individual threads, the choices we make, they still shape the final picture.
That's a great analogy.
It's like saying that.
Yeah.
Even if the ending is inevitable, our choices still shape
That's right.
the journey.
They do.
It makes you think about how much control we really have.
It's a big question.
Over our own lives.
Do we have free will? Or are our actions guided by something bigger than us?
By fate.
Maybe it's a bit of both.
That's a lot to think about.
It is.
This whole free will debate makes me think about the psychological impact of believing in a preordained apocalypse.
If you really believe the world is ending, does that change how you live?
Do you give in to despair? Or do you make the most of every day?
It's a fascinating question.
Do you focus on what matters?
Yeah.
Or do you just give up?
It makes you wonder if believing in the apocalypse can make it happen.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
If you think society is collapsing.
You might stop caring about the environment or social justice.
And that could actually hasten the collapse.
That's scary to think about.
It is a sobering thought.
Are we so worried about the end of the world that we forget to make
the world better?
Yeah, a better place now.
That's a good point.
But I think that's part of what makes Revelation so powerful.
It does make you think about the big questions.
About life and death.
Yeah.
And the meaning of it all.
And it reminds us that even in darkness, there's always hope.
There's always a chance for renewal.
And even transcendence.
I remember that image of the new heaven and new earth.
A place without suffering.
Without pain.
Right.
It's a vision that's given comfort
to so many people
throughout history.
It's a powerful image.
It is comforting.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about all the chaos Revelation describes.
It's like a reminder that even if things get bad, there's always the possibility of a fresh start.
Of a new beginning.
Exactly.
And that's a message worth holding on to.
Regardless of how literally you interpret Revelation.
Well said.
Thanks.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
into Revelation, what are some key takeaways?
Yeah, what do you hope listeners will remember?
I think the most important thing is to remember that Revelation is complex.
Right.
It has many layers.
Yeah.
And it's open to many interpretations.
Okay.
There's no one right way to understand it.
And that's okay.
It is, the beauty is in the exploration.
Right, in the journey.
In wrestling with the ideas. In letting those ideas challenge us.
Challenge our thinking.
And deepen our understanding.
Challenge ourselves in the world.
I love it.
It's not about the answers. It's about the questions.
The process of inquiry and discovery.
So as we conclude our exploration, I encourage everyone to continue this journey.
To keep exploring.
Yeah, on your own.
Dive deeper
right
into the symbolism, the historical context, the different interpretations.
Ask yourself what resonates with you.
What challenges you?
What does this ancient text have to say about the world today?
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
On this wild ride.
It has been wild.
Through the book of Revelation.
A fascinating journey.
It's been thought-provoking.
It has.
And even a bit fun.
I agree.
It's one of the most fascinating texts.
It really is.
Ever written.
Until next time.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep those minds open.
Absolutely.
So we're back for the last part of our Revelation deep dive.
Back for more.
We talked about plagues and horsemen and trumpets. Oh my.
It's been a lot.
But now I really want to dig into this whole free will thing.
Okay, free will.
If the end times are already set,
right,
where does that leave our choices?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah. Does Revelation give us an answer?
It doesn't really,
Okay.
but maybe that's part of the point.
How so?
It makes us think about these huge questions.
Right, about life and choice.
About destiny, about free will.
Stuff people have wondered about for centuries.
Exactly.
The video touches on this idea that even if there's a divine plan, there's still room for human action, human choices.
Like maybe the big picture is set. Okay. But we still have some say.
Right. In how it all plays out.
It's like a tapestry, you know?
A tapestry. Okay.
The overall design is there.
Right. The pattern is set.
But the individual threads, the choices we make, they still contribute.
They make up the bigger picture.
That's it.
So even if the ending's inevitable, the journey is shaped by our choices.
I like that.
This makes you think about how much control we actually have.
Control versus destiny.
Yeah. Free will versus fate.
One of the big questions of philosophy.
Right. Have philosophers figured it out?
I don't think so.
I guess we're all still trying to figure it out.
I think that's part of being human.
It makes you think about, if you believe the apocalypse is coming.
Right.
Does that change how you live?
It's a good question.
Like, if you think the world's about to end, would you give in to despair?
Or would you live each day to the fullest?
Would you try to make amends?
Would you focus on what truly matters?
Yeah, would you even bother anymore?
It really makes you think about your priorities.
It makes you wonder if that belief that the end is coming can actually make it happen.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
If you're convinced society is going to collapse,
right,
you might stop caring about things.
Like the environment.
The things that could actually prevent that collapse.
It's almost like
Yeah.
Giving up before the fight even starts.
It's a dangerous mindset.
Yeah. Are we so focused on the end of the world that we forget to make things better now?
I think that's a real danger.
But it's also what makes Revelation so powerful.
How so?
It forces us to confront the big questions.
Life, death, meaning.
Yeah. All of that.
It's a lot to take in.
But it also reminds us that even in darkness,
even when things seem bleak,
there's always hope.
Always a chance for renewal.
That image of the new heaven and new earth.
That vision of a world without suffering.
A place where everything's made right.
It's powerful.
It's a powerful image.
It's given people hope for centuries.
It's comforting to think about.
It is.
Especially when you consider all the chaos in Revelation.
It's a reminder that even if things get bad, there's always the possibility of a fresh start.
Like a new beginning.
A chance to start over.
And that's a message worth remembering.
I think so, no matter how you interpret Revelation.
Well said.
Thanks.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive, what are some key takeaways?
What do you hope people remember?
I think the most important thing is that Revelation is complex.
It's not a simple book.
It's open to many interpretations.
There's no single right answer.
And that's okay.
It is. The beauty is in the exploration.
In wrestling with the ideas.
In letting them challenge us.
In asking ourselves what we believe.
Exactly.
So keep exploring.
Keep asking questions.
Keep those minds open.
That's the most important thing.
Thanks for joining us on this wild ride.
It's been a journey.
Through the book of Revelation.
One of the most fascinating books ever written.
Until next time, keep searching for those answers.
And remember, there might not be one right answer.